Hey, and we're live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 5 to 7. We're a little bit early, but never mind. Welcome, everybody. And first, thank you very much we've got actor Warren Donnelly from Shameless.
Hey,
AKA,
cheers.
Yeah, PC Stan Waterman. So he's going to be telling us about his life and times on the Chatsworth estate, which is going to be interesting. Warren, thank you very much for being here. I mean, how are you?
I'm very well. It's very nice to be here. You know, I'm always amazed that people are still interested in Shameless after all these years. So yeah, it's I've done a few of these recently, and it's all been very nice to look back.
Yeah, I mean, when you have these, is it about Shameless that you've been called on for?
Yeah, a mixture, but Shameless is right there in the middle of your CV, so you can't really avoid it. So people always ask about it.
Yeah.
So it's it's one of those things. It's nice to look back occasionally because I don't really think about it that often, and then I do, and I remember lots of nice things.
Yeah, I was going to say because I did those little montage of clips this week from Shameless. Is that the first time you've seen it since it was on, or?
Pretty much. I'm not very big on watching myself. I find if I ever watch myself, I see all the things I shouldn't have done in the take.
And you become self-conscious and question everything.
Yeah, I mean, they repeated the first series of Shameless last year.
Yes.
And I watched that again, and it's been so long, it's like watching a different person, a younger, better-looking version of myself. So
yeah.
I quite enjoyed it, but at the time, I could never quite watch myself, and I can't really switch off and just watch it, as like a viewer.
Yeah, you start sort of picking things and start saying, "Oh, I should have done that differently,"
it's not really my. I quite like. I much prefer doing live stuff. It's live and it's gone.
You don't have to think about it then, do you? It's gone. It's gone.
Watching myself, no, I'm not a huge fan of that one.
No, I've got to say, I've been watching The Shameless back again recently because Tina Malone, who you obviously work with, she'll be coming on soon. So I wanted to refresh my memory because, like yourself, I haven't watched it since back in the day. In 2004, doesn't sound that long, the first series, but then I think to myself, well, I was still a young chicken back in 2004, so it really is a long time ago now.
It's a long time, yeah. I mean, I filmed the first bits in the summer of 2003.
2003, so, no way. 2003. Yeah.
And I sort of filmed it and then forgot about it, and then suddenly it was on television. And overnight, it seemed to be very popular. It all seemed to happen very quickly with Shameless. So,
yeah, I can imagine. Well, what I'm going to do, Warren, first of all, is we'll talk a bit about Shameless shortly and how you got the part, etc. I just wanted to take you back and go back to the very beginning.
Yeah.
When were you first? I know it's a very generic question, but I'm genuinely interested. When were you first bitten what they call by the acting bug? Was it when you were a kid?
Yeah, I used to go to the Everyman Youth Theatre when I was about 10 or 11.
Oh, yeah, and you've got lots of Brookside actors.
Yeah, so 1979, 1980-ish. I'd always liked reading as a kid. I was at a very advanced reading age. I flew through all the reading schemes at school. I liked drawing. I liked good kids' TV and imaginative stuff that was on television at that time. And I don't know, it must have been there somewhere. But going to the Everyman Youth Theatre was great because you were made to feel that you're part of the Everyman, not just the youth theatre.
Yeah.
And we did some really interesting stuff. And the kind of excitements and nerves and butterflies in the stomach that I still get now when I stand on stage before, that goes all the way back to doing plays at the Unity Theatre when I was 11 years old, 12. Like a little boy, with lots of blonde hair and a little pair of specs. And so it must have been around that, I think, and it's sort of stayed with me ever since. Rightly or wrongly, I'm cursed with the urge to sort of perform and act and, stand on stage.
I mean, some actors, they never get rid of the nerves. They say, no, that never goes. I mean, you learn to deal with them a little bit better as they go, as time goes on and stuff. But I can imagine, still now. Because you do a lot of stage work, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, next month I'm off to sort of jump into the world of panto, which is going to keep me occupied for a while. And I can guarantee the first show, the heart will be racing. Yeah. I'll be sweating with not just the heat, but adrenaline and all that sort of stuff. And that's the way it should be, I think. Because I don't have that kind of thing. I'd be a bit worried,
Yeah, well, the thing is, if you don't have that feeling of adrenaline and stuff like that, then it's almost a case of like, is there any point in continuing? Because I think you've got to have that adrenaline rush and that buzz to really want to keep doing these things.
And it keeps you honest, it keeps you on your toes, and it means that you go on and deliver a proper performance, for a paying audience, all the stuff you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and pantos. I mean, how many? What panto are you doing?
I'm doing Aladdin at the Forum Theatre in Billingham, up in Seaside. Should have been doing it last year, but due to the whole lockdown, it was delayed.
Yeah.
But I'm working with an absolutely lovely bunch of people in a cracking theatre.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, if it's standing in front of a camera, standing on stage in a straight play, doing a bit of like theatre and education or whatever, or a panto, it's all good. It's all the same stuff. It's all work. It means I can get to do something I enjoy doing, get paid for it. And if you're going to entertain a load of children at Christmas in this magical show that they all think's wonderful and the best thing they've ever seen in their life, I think it's a pretty good job to have to keep you busy over the Christmas period.
Absolutely.
So I love it, you know.
So how many dates have you got? Because I imagine, do you do afternoon matinees and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much solid for a month. We get Christmas Day off and New Year's Day, but we're solid right the way through.
Wow.
So you rehearse for about a fortnight, then you do a month or so, 2 shows a day. Depending on the pantomime, some you do 3 shows a day. Ooh. So if any actors ever say to me, oh, panto, it's just, you go, well, you want to try doing more, because 3 shows a day, it's like doing 3 lots of an exercise class.
Yeah, well, I think there's a bit of snobbishness in that when people sort of frown upon pantos and stuff. I think it's, you know, that's part of the fun, isn't it?
That's much part of the fun. I mean, you work hard, and it is like everybody else puts on a few pounds at Christmas. If you're in a panto, you lose a few pounds.
Yeah, I always do.
It's graft, but it's great because you've got an audience of kids who love it, and you've also got an audience of grown-ups who love it just as much. Yeah. You pretend they don't, but they join in and dance as much as the kids do, if not more sometimes.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I can imagine that, actually. Yeah, that'd be me.
Yeah. And after this whole period of like the lockdown and the way things have been, it's much needed to get back to doing what I enjoy. For me personally, it's, you know, it's a real sort of tonic and a boost.
Absolutely.
And the bonus of working with nice people as well. I mean, if you're working with a lovely bunch of people, which you will be, then you fly through it. And the hard work isn't so hard anymore, you know?
Of course. Well, obviously, going what you were saying about lockdowns and obviously all theatres closing and stuff, obviously these were things I suppose many of us just took for granted before. You don't realise what you love until it's gone, kind of thing. And I guess now that, you know, we've had that period where all theatres were shut down and stuff for so long, I imagine that you really... you appreciate it more now, especially being back on stage this year.
Well, just before the lockdown, I'd done a pantomime at the Epstein Theatre in Liverpool. Fantastic theatre. When I first worked there when I was 18, it's lovely, you know. And it was looking really rosy and things were looking up, and I'd signed to do a telly job, which was eventually allowed to do under some very strange circumstances, but we did it. And then suddenly the lockdown happens and you're walking past theatres that have been lively, warm, welcoming places. Theatres like the Empire, all the theatres in Liverpool, like theatres across the country, they have a real history to them. Yeah, you can feel the history when you walk into them. And suddenly the shutters are down, they're closed. And you think, no, you know, I think the thing about live theatre and entertainment, genuinely, there's a need for it. You know, people will sit and tell stories. They'll tell stories in the pub. They'll want to watch something. And if you take that away from people, I think, as you say, you really do start to miss it. And okay, yeah, you've got your Netflix. But there's nothing like a bit of live
theatre, though, is it?
No, it's nothing, not at all, I don't think, you know.
No.
As much as I watch it. So, yeah, much missed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because the first IMDb, have you heard of the Internet Movie Database?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's like my Bible. When I get people on, I'm trying to get clips out from TV shows and stuff. That's my Bible. So I'm going off your IMDb. It says that your first major role was Neil Fitzmaurice's screenplay called Going Off Big Time. But I imagine that you did, was that a film?
Yeah, well, IMDb, I haven't done that page, so whoever's done it for me, it's very nice of them. No, I mean, I've done stuff before then. I've done stuff, telly jobs, a lot of theatre and education, stuff like that. Yeah. So I'd done a fair bit of television stuff. But Going Off Big Time, yeah, it was a film, and it was a good film, actually. It's one of those films where I think if it had come out a year or so earlier, it had a bigger audience.
Yeah.
But it was a good part. It's a good film. You can still get it on, you can stream it, I assume, and it comes up on Sky occasionally, and you can buy it on DVD.
Oh, and it's on Netflix, actually. Is it on Netflix, do you know?
Maybe, I don't know, but maybe.
But I mean, I can get the DVD, can't we?
It's out there. I mean, so that was like a nice thing to have on my CV. And it was a good film. It's like a gangstery crime film, but with a big dose of some comedy in it.
Yeah.
I'd known Neil. Well, yeah, but I've known Neil for since I was about 20. He's always said when we were that age, you know, I've got this film script, and one day I'm going to make it. And he did 10 odd years later. So
yeah. Well, he's an actor as well, isn't he? I'm sure he was in Brookside once.
Yeah, he was there as a bit of a bad guy sort of character.
Yes, that's it. And I remember, it's a random programme to mention, but I do remember Neil Fitzmaurice, if I remember rightly, watching that MMA. Yeah, I do remember him being in that.
Neil's an old mate and a very, very good actor and a very talented bloke, you know, and sort of, and you know, he made his film and he's done some great stuff, Phoenix Nights and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, he's an old chum going back years. But prior to that, I'd done a fair few telly jobs. So yeah, you know, I'd been busy. I mean, around the age of my sort of about 22-ish, 23, early 20s, I started to get bits of work, and then it sort of carried on and sort of grew, I suppose, you know, or it moved forward anyway, you know.
Yeah, and I know a lot of actors, you know, obviously in the old days, you're kind of like waiting for that phone to ring, aren't you, as well? I can imagine that's really frustrating for every actor.
Well, you know, there's a bit of waiting for the phone to ring, but there's also going to be a lot of getting off your backside and going to auditions and trying to generate stuff for yourself.
Yeah.
That's why my view on work is it's all good. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I'm working as an actor and I'm getting paid and it's working with good people, it's all part of the master plan, or it's all part of the process. You know, it's what you do.
Definitely.
So yeah, you know.
Well, I you know, it annoys me because some people are very presumptuous. There are a lot of, just to mention Brookside again, but there are a lot of former actors in that, like Sarah White, who've gone on to do theatre. She's gone on to do lots of theatre work, and lots of people say, "Oh, she doesn't do anything now. She's gone." I'm like, "Well, no, she isn't. She's just doing theatre work." Yeah.
Well, I work with Sarah.
Did you? Oh, she's great, isn't she?
In Cinderella too. She's brilliant on stage, and she's also such a lovely person as well.
Yeah.
We had a real hoot. There was me, Sarah, Chrissy Rock.
Oh, I love Chrissy Rock.
Yeah, and it was a whole gang of us: Lewis Devine, Andrew Gator, you know, Sammy Winwood of Cinderella.
Wow.
We had a hoot.
Yeah,
and played houses, and it was a bloody good show. And then, of course, next thing is it's lockdown, and you go, "Oh no!" You know.
I can imagine it was devastating. All these concerts that had been cancelled as well. Glastonbury.
Well, my father's a musician, my brother's a musician. They were gigging all the time, still working, still earning a living, got family support, and for a lot of musicians as well. It wasn't just those whinging actors, you know, musicians, dancers
as well. Yeah,
behind the scenes people. I mean, you name it, it all ground to a halt. What seemed like overnight, you know. So.
It did, and I've got to be honest with you, I was very sort of flippant about it when people started saying, "Oh, we might be going into lockdown," and of course, I suppose I just couldn't imagine it ever happening, and I was kind of like, "Oh, it won't come to that," and then suddenly I was sat there at night, and then the news came on about how everywhere was closed and the schools and stuff, and it was just surreal for the first, I suppose, for everyone.
I live in the city centre in Liverpool. In a big student area, so it's bustling normally, and it seems I got up one morning and it was like something out of a horror film. I was like the last man on earth, and what was a busy part of town was silent.
Yeah, that's because I live in a town, you see, and it was. I used to think to myself, I'd love to live in the countryside, somewhere nice and quiet. And then when lockdown happened and suddenly all the streets were really quiet, I thought, no, I'm a townie at heart. I'm missing all the noise and the hustle and bustle and stuff.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I was exactly the same. You suddenly go, no, I like the hustle and bustle and the activity, and suddenly it was very quiet. So yeah, I was flipping. I think everybody was a bit kind of, oh, it'll pass and there'll be something.
Well, I kept waiting for this announcement. I kept thinking, oh, any day now they'll come, but no, it didn't. It went on. It went on for a lot longer than most of us anticipated. Anyway, didn't it?
Yeah.
Hopefully, we're moving in the right direction now.
I hope so. Yeah. You know, you've got to look at it that way, I think.
That's it. We've got to all learn to live with it eventually, haven't we? So we're going to hopefully move forward and stuff. I hope
moving forward. No more of that, please.
Yeah, I don't think I could cope with that. But there's some other programs I wanted to mention to you because 2004, this would have been around the time of Shameless, a show called No Angels.
Yeah.
Can you remember that?
Yes, I was in one episode of that as a grumpy guy who worked for the job centre.
Oh, right, okay.
I've
actually pretty famous in that. Who was it that I saw that was in that? What was the cast?
Jo Joyner was one of the actresses who was in it.
Yes.
A woman who'd been in Brookside, who I can't remember her name, was in it. Like an Asian Indian woman.
Shaka? What's it?
Yeah, for the life of me, I can't remember her name, but
I know who you're on about because she's in Holby City, the one that's in Holby City now, or was in Holby City. Yeah, I know who you're on about because she was good in Brookside as well. Right.
What I remember about. Yeah, but I remember we filmed that in a disused hospital in Leeds. Outside of Leeds, I'd been in a mental hospital, so it was a bit frightening. Not so much filming it, but hanging around in the green room was a bit scary. So I did that. I mean, around that period, I'd done a few auditions for a few casting people, and then I seemed to quite a batch of work. I mean, I did 4 episodes of Coronation Street around the same time.
Yes, well, you've played 2 characters in Coronation Street, haven't you? Was the first one Larry?
Yeah, I played a security guard for 4 episodes who was the boyfriend of, is it Sean in Coronation Street?
Sean. Oh, Sean. Oh, you were a gay security guard.
I was a gay security guard.
And no way. I didn't know that. I can't. It's been that long now. I can't remember. So it was Sean. Yeah, it's Anthony Cotton.
Yeah.
And
it involved me at one point having to have some kind of tussle with Liz Dawn, who played. What was it?
Liz Dawn.
Yeah.
And at the time, one of my favourites.
Well, he said to me, "Look, Liz, she's getting on and she's a bit frail and she's not in the best of health. So when you have this little tussle with her, just take it easy."
Yeah.
And it turned out she was as strong as an ox and she battered me. So,
I can imagine.
But she was a very nice woman, and I was watching the way she was, because we filmed it on location, and a lot of Coronation Street fans there. And she was so nice to everybody, so nice to all the people watching, so nice to the people coming in like me, who was only going to be there for a couple of episodes. Yeah. And it makes you go, if you're ever in a position where you're a regular on the show, always be friendly to people who are coming in to do an episode or 2, because they walk into an environment they're not in all the time, and you are, so be welcoming. And, if people want to say hello and ask, can I have a photograph taken with you? You only want 2 minutes of your time, really, so there's no point getting a few airs and graces and going, I don't do that kind of thing. Of course you do.
I mean, did you find any of the Coronation, I'm not trying to pry or anything, but did you find that any of the Coronation Street cast were a little bit like that?
No. Not the first time I did it. I don't know, you see, it's a strange one because
I've heard it's and it's not criticising, because I think Barbara Knox is, I just want to make it clear, Barbara Knox is Rita Fairclough, wonderful actress, but she's a very private person, I gather, and I think she just walks past people. Some people complain, and I thought, well, no, if she's private and she's quite shy and wants to keep herself to herself, I think then you'd have to respect that. Whereas they were thinking she's being rude, and I thought, no, I think you've got to see it from her point. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, what you've also got to remember is that a show like Coronation Street, it's a machine. She churn out episodes. At one point, it was twice a week, wasn't it? It was on. And all night a week. So they're under a lot of pressure to learn lines. That's the other thing, because the day keeps moving. You've got to get those scenes done. So I think sometimes with people, it's not that they're being standoffish; they're preoccupied with what they're going to do.
Yeah, and people don't understand that, do they? And I think that's why people are unfair. Yeah,
and I think sometimes people ask you for an autograph or a photograph, sort of hoping that you'll be standoffish, so you can tell people. Yeah, if you're not, it just slightly throws people.
It's like they want to moan about something as well.
Yeah. But there's always that slight thing of who do you think you are, isn't there? And you go, well, I don't really think I'm anybody, and you can have a photograph anyway, for what it's worth. So I think sometimes people, they're looking for an excuse to bitch about someone.
Oh, on social media, they definitely do.
Oh, definitely, yeah. But somebody who's working 6-7 days a week on a soap opera, they've got a lot on the plate.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not so much a case of being standoffish, it's a case of I'm not half busy, I've got a lot to think about.
Your mind, they're mindful. Just not the light. Their minds, kind of focused on what they're doing, aren't they?
Yeah, focused on the job and the pressures that go with it. Because the big pressure of any kind of filming that you ever do, be it a TV programme, a movie, a short film, it's time. Time is always of the essence. And you're always up against the clock to some degree. So there's a lot to consider, to think about.
Definitely. Well, in Corrie's case, obviously they're doing 4, when you were there as well, it would have been 4 or 5 days a week, wasn't it? So,
oh yeah.
Did you get rehearsal times when you were doing that? Because I know, no. They used to do rehearsal times in the soaps all in the old days, didn't they? But
that's very much the old days.
Yeah. I mean, it's a luxury now, isn't it?
Well, I mean, by the time I started getting acting jobs in the early 20s, that would be like the very early 1990s, the days of rehearsals had gone then. Really? Everything's made more like a film. I mean, with something like Coronation Street, you will turn up, they'll get you on the set as quickly as possible, you'll run through it for the director, and then run through it so the crew can watch it, and then they'll want to go for a take pretty quickly. So you have to turn up. I mean, okay, with a pantomime, we're going to have 2 weeks of rehearsing. For filming, though, you've got to turn up on that day knowing exactly what you're going to do, what you're meant to be saying, because everybody else knows what they're doing. The camera crew know what they're doing, the costume, the makeup, the sound, and you have to turn up ready to go, and
No pressure then.
Well, it's pressured. I always used to feel more pressured in the read-through when you sat around the table reading the scripts. Really? Once you're there, and you're very quickly in the mix of it all and in the middle of it all. And you haven't really got too much time to be nervous. And also, the important thing to remember is you're there because they think you can do the job.
Yes.
Nobody employs you because they think you're a crap actor, ever. So you have to sort of go, okay, I'm here. I'm going to do what I do. They obviously like what I do from the audition. And I'm going to do it. We're going to be doing it like right now, so let's get on with it,
Yeah, but I still imagine like when it came to first day of filming on something like Coronation Street, especially being with like a stalwart like Liz Dunn. Yeah, I can imagine that was still quite nerve-wracking.
Well, it was in the old studios, Key Street way in Manchester.
Oh God, yeah, they've changed, haven't they? They've built a haven't they? Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Well, it's now in Salford Quays, and it's like Fort Knox. It's a great big building, and there's no way you could ever break into there. Whereas Key Street was still like an old office building, a lot of it. So when you were in there, once again, you could sort of feel the history of the place. You think, well, that's... And if you went in the green room, well, that was sort of Ken Barlow's chair over there and that kind of thing. But I mean, but as I say, she was so friendly. Anthony Cotton was really friendly. The director was friendly. The crew were friendly. I knew one of the crew from Shameless anyway. And you sort of go, so you're there, and you think, well, okay, I'm here and we're doing it. So let's get on with it,
Yes. Well, that's the best way to look at it, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's the only thing you can do, really, is just do it,
Yeah, well, I suppose you've got no choice. You've just got to do it. Otherwise, you'll just,
You'll never work in this town again, So, you've got to get on with it.
Okay. Well, just before we move on to Shameless, I just want to mention a few other programs because there was Life on Mars, and that was a good series. What were you playing in Life on Mars?
Well, I was a baddie. I was a gun runner.
You're a baddie? Oh, I should have dubbed that episode out.
I'm in episode 3 of the first series, and the two things I get recognised for the most are Shameless, but Life on Mars, funnily enough, because Life on Mars became like this cult TV show.
I was going to say, it's got like a cult following, hasn't it?
They only made 12 episodes, and it's a bit mysterious what it's all about. So it's a bit like a series like The Prisoner, those kind of 1960s cult TV shows. They have a very dedicated following. I mean, the first pantomime I ever did, I got a message, could I go to the stage door? Your biggest fans waiting to see you. And in my fevered imagination, I thought this would be some gorgeous woman waiting to sort of jump on me, It was a bloke with a Life on Mars t-shirt, a Life on Mars baseball hat, and a pair of glasses that were a bit like that,
Yeah.
He knew more about Life on Mars than I did. I had to tell him his Life on Mars annual, and quite often I get recognised by people for that, and I'm in one episode. I'm not in it all the way through. I'm in it. But that was another job where it was John Sim, Dean Andrews, and I can't remember the guy's name, but they couldn't have been more friendly, and John Sim was absolutely lovely, and it was a really nice job to do. The only problem was, I'm in episode 3, so I never saw the scripts for episode 1 or 2, or 4, 5, and 6, and it was completely confusing because it flits back between the 70s, the present day. It's a bit ghost story, it's a bit science fiction-y. So I remember reading the script and thinking, I can't make head and tail of this, but it's good. It's going to be a good to tell you. It's got good people in it. And so I really enjoyed doing that. And I still earn a crust from it. That's one of those jobs where every so often.
Yeah. What I was going to say, actually, because one thing I bet you get a lot of residuals for, or did get a lot of residuals for, because it's been driving me mad. I was going to message you, actually, because I've been trying to find it. A very famous advert that you were in, because I remember seeing it all the time.
OVO Energy.
That's the one. I couldn't find it on YouTube, where you're running through the streets with a towel wrapped around you.
Yeah.
Because that was on all the time, wasn't it?
That was a good gig, that, and a good payday. I mean, I'm glad it was, because it's a game of two halves on advert.
Yeah.
The first half of it, I filmed in a studio in Manchester, in a fake bathroom in the shower. And it was great, because the shower was just the right temperature. And there were two very attractive makeup women who'd run onto the set and cover me in foam and laugh at me jokes. And that's all I really need in life, is good-looking women to laugh at.
The job, eh?
That was fun. The second half of it, I was running through the streets of Salford, I think it was.
So you were?
Yeah, at the end of February, and it was perishing.
Yeah, I can imagine February. I kept thinking, sure, they wouldn't have made him run through the streets like that.
It was the end of February. And the foam that had been warm was now freezing cold, and it was put all over my chest. And I remember thinking at the time, and excuse the language.
Oh, no, you can swear, don't worry.
But I thought, the only way this job can get any worse is if it starts to snow, or like a big Alsatian turns up and starts trying to shag me leg. I mean, there was the only ways it could have got any worse,
Yeah.
But it was a good payday, so I can't. The suffering was worth it in the end.
Suffer for your art, that's what they say. All in the name
your art
of
and your
art.
bank account, I think, is what you have to do.
Yeah. How long ago was that advert? Was that around the Shameless era?
No, 2015-ish. But it
Right,
ran for a year and a bit. Yeah. So it was a long running thing, and
I do remember seeing it a lot of the time. And of course, obviously, the first thing I thought of was Shameless, of course, which we're going to move on to now.
Well, it was on the television a lot, and it was on Facebook a lot, and social media. So I was sort of everywhere for a bit.
Yeah.
Like Harry Battle-chested form. So there you go.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Well, obviously, you'd had lots of TV roles before Shameless, but how did the part of Shameless come about? And it was in 2003.
Yeah. Well, it came about because, you're out there auditioning and you get to meet casting directors, and then you're on people's lists. I mean, if I ever speak to any young actors who want advice, you go, get auditioning, it's very, but getting a job is great, obviously. But you've got to get out there, you've got to get auditioning, you've got to get meeting people. If you're meeting up people, then you're on their list for parts where they'll bring you in for a certain type of role.
Yeah.
So if I remember correctly, I was in the house and I got a phone call from the agent saying, right, there's a new show called Shameless. Have you heard of it? I said, no. Oh, well, it's going to be a big deal, we think. And do you want to see you for a part? Okay. It's the part of the debt collector. There's 2 debt collectors and they're chasing after Frank Gallagher. One of them's little and tough and one of them's big and tough. Now, I'm about 5'9", so I'm not little, but I'm not particularly big either, so I thought, well, okay, I'll go anyway, because, it's an audition, and you've got to go for the auditions. And
you've got to go for it.
But if you're a young actor, don't listen to this crap about can you take rejection. It's not about rejection. You're not always right for the part, but you've got to go to the audition.
Yes.
Even if it seems a bit mad, go and audition. So I went, and at the audition, there was a great big bloke and a little bloke who both looked tough. And they got the part, and rightly so, because they were perfect for him. Yeah. And the littler guy, I used to see at auditions all the time. So I came home, a day or two later, the agent phones up and goes, no, it didn't work out. I said, oh, okay, that's the way it goes. She said, but do you want me for one episode as a policeman? No, how that happened, I don't know. How they looked at me and went, well, he doesn't look like a bailiff, but he looks like a policeman. I do not know. Because that's the thing about auditioning. Quite often you think, am I right for that part? Well, you're not casting you, somebody else is. And they might see things in you don't necessarily see in yourself. So, okay, nice. So the part was mine. And I thought, well, I'm filming it not long before my birthday, so that's a little bonus.
Definitely.
That's one episode.
Yeah, just with the one.
Yeah, so then she phones me back a day or so later and goes, actually, it might be 2. So I thought, okay, that's fine, because I've got 2 episodes now. I didn't have any.
Yeah.
I went to the first read-through, did my opening bit, which got a laugh. Met everybody, met David Threlford, who couldn't have been nicer and more welcoming. Did my first bit of filming, and that seemed to go really well. I got a good response, got a laugh. And then I wasn't needed for a week or so, because you always film these things completely out of sequence. You never film it in story order. So while I was off for that week, I got another phone call from the agent saying, actually, they're going to film a Christmas special as soon as you've done these 2 episodes, and they want you in that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she literally phoned me back the next day and went, actually, they want to offer you the contract. So it was one audition for a different part and maybe 3-4 phone calls.
So it all worked out well in the end.
It did. And I mean, it's one of those things, what if I hadn't gone for the audition? Well, you don't know, do you? But I obviously made an impression, because next thing is, what seemed like overnight, I was sort of in it, much to my surprise. And being
you were in it more and more, I thought, as the series went along. Yeah. I think by series 4, when your partner, the first one, what's his name? Yeah, because you had an Irish guy and the girl then coming to you. And I thought you started to see Stan more, and there were a few of his storylines that came forward then, weren't there?
Well, to be honest with you, when we filmed the second series, I mean, the first series I'm in 2 episodes out of the 7. I think in the second series I'm in something like 4 out of the 7.
Yes.
So quite quickly, and I'm being a bit naive.
Singing on the karaoke as Elvis.
Yeah, well, and also I was very aware that I wasn't going into a program called Stan the Policeman.
Yeah.
I was part of the cast of the ensemble. So it never occurred to me anybody had ever recognised me from it particularly, because I thought, well, I'm not the focus of attention, but I started appearing more and more in it. I got some very good stuff to do, and then people do recognise you. You think, oh, blimey, I've turned into that fella off the telly, which had never really occurred to me before.
So how did you find that when you suddenly started getting recognised? Well, I imagine most people are okay with you, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, most people go, all right, mate, or all right, Stan, or whatever, and they want a photograph or they want to say hello.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember a very good-looking young girl came up to me one day and went, "My mum fancies you." I remember thinking, well,
I'd rather fancy
nice to be fanciable then, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, loads of people sort of. I mean, it happened to me the other day. I was walking to the shops, and a man and his girlfriend or wife still went, "Oh, cheer, isn't it?" And what happens now a lot is that I get recognised by people who'd have been too young to watch it first time around.
Oh, and it's on Netflix now and stuff, isn't it now?
Yeah. You say things like, "My mum and dad told me about this series," which, you know, makes me feel ancient.
Yeah.
And also, you know, if you're going to stand on stage or in front of a camera, and well, you're going to be recognised. And the thing about me is I have a distinctive look, so I'm very recognisable. If you see me and stuff, there's a lot of other people who don't recognise me, and that's all right as well. I can live with both quite happily because I have a lot of other interests other than being recognised in the street. You know, I've got a lot of things in life that I find interesting. So yeah, you know, it's part of the nature of the beast, isn't it? I think, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, has anybody ever been, where Shameless is concerned, I mean, it's absolutely a riotously funny to be.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever had like sort of any moral outrage and, oh no, that's not right? I've had a few people say that to me personally.
Yeah.
They were only stiff and pompous about it. I just thought, I'll get a sense of humour. But they were very sort of, I worked in an office and I said, "Oh, did anybody see Shameless last night?" I said, the manager heard me and walked past and said, "We don't watch Shameless in this office." I thought, okay. Yeah.
No,
I seem to be in the minority. I just wondered if you ever had those experiences.
The only negative comments I really got about Shameless were from other actors who I suspect wanted to be in it. And there's a few people I know who I'd worked with in local theatre who were a bit sniffy and slightly implied that I was selling my soul to the devil by being on the television and not doing plays for very little money in local theatres. And you think, well, you know, it's all good, it's all work.
Yeah, and the thing is, I bet you if they'd been offered the opportunity, they'd have taken. They're only saying that to make themselves feel better, I think.
Yeah,
you don't think?
There's that kind of, once again, sort of snobbery. You know, what are you
especially
doing
where soaps are concerned as well.
Yeah, and you know, and also if people then go, well, I always think with, you know, television programs, if it's not the sort of program you want to watch, don't watch it.
Exactly, and the thing with Shameless was it was on at like 10:30 at night, so you knew it was going to be controversial. Yeah. So it's like, why watch it if you know it's not going to be your kind of thing?
I mean, there's plenty of stuff I don't watch because I'm not really interested. So I don't watch it. I don't sit there and watch it and then bitch about it because I don't want to watch it. You know?
Same with like artists and pop stars. I don't get why people sort of plague. If you post an artist or a clip of something that you like and then they have to bitch about it and stuff, it's like, well, just move on. What you got to? Why are you? You know. Well, it's what we were saying about people just like to bitch and moan for the sake of it on social media, I think.
Well, it's the old Mary Whitehouse thing from when she was knocking about years ago.
Oh, I do remember her, yes.
You kick off about stuff and go, it's disgusting, and there were women exposing their breasts and there was foul language. And all that made people do was watch it more then.
Absolutely. It did encourage us to make it. So, oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. If you're going to bitch about Shameless and go like, it's disgraceful and all this, you go, well, people will automatically be interested. And you go, if you do think it's disgraceful, then don't watch it. I mean, I did several things in Shameless that were highly embarrassing and I wouldn't normally do, but it was part of the show and it was what it was, you know.
Oh, well, definitely. And I wouldn't have wanted it any other way, really. It was like really sort of in your face. And I think that's what you kind of came to expect and love of Shameless as well.
Yeah. Well, every show has its own thing, don't they? And that was Shameless's thing. And it wasn't just that. I think what it did at its best, when it was really well written, it sort of captured that thing of how normal life is boring and mundane and bizarre. Because real life is bizarre. I mean, you can write bizarre, but there's things that go on in people's lives that you couldn't make up. And Shameless, it sort of caught a moment, it found its audience, and it nailed that. I think that's what people liked about it, as much as anything else, you know.
Well, funnily enough, somebody mentioning Brookside again, somebody that actually said like it was, I don't know if you agree with this, but Shameless is like a sort of product of Brookside. Like a program like Royal Family, it's sort of got that sort of feel. I know it's completely different. You know, would you agree with that? You know, about the observation of looking at ordinary working class people and, you know.
Well, I think the thing is, with Brookside and Shameless, one thing they've got in common is that when they were first broadcast, they were totally different to whatever else was on the television. I remember Brookside came along and it was nothing like Coronation Street or Crossroads or Emmerdale, and it wasn't Emmerdale Farm as it was in those days.
Yeah, I can remember
Coronation Street, I've always liked Coronation Street. Crossroads, while it was bloody awful, people loved it.
Yeah, I know they did.
I know, but people loved those shows. And then Brookside came along and it was a totally different way of presenting soap. Same with Shameless. Shameless came along. It was very different to everything else that was on. Lots of shows became a bit like Shameless, like Brassic is a complete Shameless rip-off on Sky.
Yeah, I thought so as well.
Yeah, so I think that the thing they have in common is that, they said, right, this is what we are, and it's a bit more like that compared to everything else. And Brookside especially, I think with Brookside, people forget, when that first came on, it was hard-hitting. It was a product of that kind of Boys from the Black Stuff period, the early days of Margaret Thatcher, the Winds of Discontent. It nailed a lot of that. And living in Liverpool that time as a kid, I got it. Yeah. I was living through it, And
really held a mirror to the times as well, didn't it?
Yeah. And Shameless is very much of its time. It nailed that moment in the early 2000s. And you sort of go, I watched the first series again, it really stood up, and you go, yeah, it caught something.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
It made me laugh every night when I've been watching it.
Well, I think every TV series, every film, every record, every album, the producers want it to be a success, but you can't really always judge that. Like going up big time. No. I think it should have been a bigger success than it was. And some series or some products just grab it, they grab that moment and it clicks with the audience. And it did with Shameless because, as I say, it seemed to be, it was broadcast and the next week everybody was talking about it.
Oh, yes, we were.
And for me, there'd been like a gap of about nearly 6 months between filming my first chunk of it to it being shown. And it took me by surprise because I was doing other things. I hadn't really thought too much about it, other than...
you just get on with the next job, don't you? And just carry on. And
yeah, so I think that's what it is. I think certain programmes, Brookside, Shameless and others, they have something about them that catches the public imagination. Definitely. I'm still talking about it now, so it must have caught somebody's imagination.
Absolutely. Well, this thing, again, there was another feature. Is it Jodie Comer that appeared with Stephen Graham recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, she'd got in the Liverpool Echo and reckons they should bring Brookside back. And you know what I'm doing with Brookside this week. And I have to personally say, as much as I love it, I would personally say no. And I wondered what you'd think about Shameless. If somebody said, oh, Shameless is coming back, I'd probably be very excited if they said, oh, Brookside and Shameless is coming back, and I'd watch them. But there's always that element of risk that if they fail, do you not think it damages their legacy a little bit more? And it becomes like a joke, like El Dorado or something.
With Shameless, the easy answer to say is yes, bring it back.
Yeah, I'd watch Shameless. I don't think Brookside had enough.
But I don't think Shameless should come back. We did a Shameless reunion, and we were all asked this question: would we all go back? And we go, yeah, of course we would. The truthful answer is don't bring it back. A, because it wouldn't work. 2004 is a very different time to now.
Well, yes.
And so
maybe just continue with the reruns and stuff.
Yeah, and why not? Fresh. Well, Shameless caught its moment, so why not invent a series now that catches this time? Where we've had all the argy-bargy over Brexit, the kind of the mare that goes on with booing the knee, and governments who are sort of divisive, all this culture war crap that's out there. And it is crap, by the way. It's complete nuts and bollocks.
Oh, I know it is. I know. I agree. I know it's the same line of thinking because I've seen your Facebook posts.
Yeah, and I think also, it's... What would I go back if I got a phone call to go back into Shameless? Well, would I go back as old Stan? Would they want me? Surely it's better to find new stories, new actors, new projects. And with something like Brookside, it could work, but I think people have so many happy memories of Brookside that would it taint it? I don't know, it's a tricky one, isn't it?
That's it. It's like, what if it? Yeah, and it came back, and it's like when. I didn't like Crossroads anyway, and Crossroads wasn't respected that well. Really,
no.
So when they brought that back. It just became even. I think that finished within a couple of years. It didn't work out very well, and they brought Dallas back, and that didn't work out.
I think the thing is, maybe with a soap, but I think if Shameless, no, it's watch the repeats, and it's great, and I had a very happy time doing it. But you don't bring that back because it wouldn't be the same.
No, it's Paul Abbott that created it, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he's off doing different things, isn't he? And he's doing what he's doing, and all the people involved in it are doing different things, and. It was a very, very happy time. And it's great that people still like it. And it's great that when bits of residuals turn up. But,
I can imagine.
It's of its time, so you can't go back.
Yeah. With Paul Abbott, I was quite surprised, actually. I think it was an article in The Guardian or an interview he'd done with The Guardian maybe a few years ago. And he actually said that he wished he'd finished Shameless. I was quite surprised to read it. A lot earlier than when it did, because it went on to for 11 series. He reckons he should have cut it around series 8 or series 9. What do you think of that? Do you think Because you leave it around series, you left in 2010.
That's series 6-ish, 7, something like that. I think...
Enough with Yvonne. Steve, he had an happy ending in the end.
Yeah, but I think, you know...
Sort of a happy ending.
But I don't want to say anything that's too sort of...
Yeah, I don't think it's anything to do... The series weren't bad. It was just... I felt like the first 7 or 8 series were perfect. The rest after that were... I still liked them, but it just wasn't quite as good as what it had been before.
I think they should have done 3 or 4 series and ended it, actually. I think...
You know what? Yeah.
And I say that as somebody...
always a perfect...
Well, I say that as somebody who benefited from them carrying on, because I did like 6 and a bit series. But I think it was at its best earlier on. And then I think what can happen if you're not careful, and I'm not saying it did happen, but I think if you're not careful, it goes from being shameless to being shameless. And I hate that. And so as opposed to being written in a way that it wrong-foots the audience and the shocking stuff comes about through clever writing, if you're not careful, you just go for the shocking stuff.
Yeah. And
so in this week's episode, you know, there's a vicar and he has it off with a nun. And you go, why? Because it's shameless and shocking. And you go, but what's the good writing about that? And so I think, I'm not saying that happened, but I think early on it was at its strongest. And like a lot of things, it's hard to repeat. But then again, they kept it going and I got a couple more years' work out of it. So what do I know? And
well,
also,
I like that we saw, because I've got to say, I'm up to series 5 at the moment. So I like that we start to see, because Stan was always quite... he'd turn a blind eye. I think he had empathy for the Gallaghers and stuff. So I liked him in that respect. But I just saw the episode last night and it was there was a little serious part at the end. A woman pretending she was Ukrainian and he was basically using for the money. And the policewoman that you were living with at the time came and broke the news to you. And you were nearly in tears and was like, why don't you just fuck off? Because of obviously, And I actually felt sorry for you in that part. And then I know that in series 5 or series 6, you do get with Yvonne. PC Waterman gets with Yvonne eventually, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
Can you remember that? Then they get married and then they go off, don't they, to Pakistan, I think, to live.
Yeah, well, it's a weird one because come the end of series 6, I suspected I probably wasn't going to be in it for much longer because we're going to make changes, and that's part of like how they keep shows going.
Yeah.
So there was talk from the producer of, well, look, you'll leave for a bit and then you'll come back. And I thought, well, I'm not sure that is what will happen because they might bring other people in, which is fair enough. But would I want to go back? So it's a weird one because on the one hand, you want the kind of, it's work, it's cool and all that. But then you think, I've been here maybe a bit too long. I mean, at the end, well, in one of the series, Michael and Amanda, who played the policeman and policewoman with me, they left. Audio written out, or it was a mutual thing. Can't remember. And I should have gone at the same time, I think. But they kept me on because they liked the character. And it was nice to be there, but I was a bit like a spare part. So it's a tricky one, really. How long do you do something for? If you want to leave, is that being arrogance? Is it having too much of an opinion of yourself? Are you starting to think, well, bloody hell, am I ever going to work in anything else ever again?
Yeah.
So it's a weird one. I don't know. It's hard to judge how long things should last for, how long you should be there. If they just turn around and gone, right, you've been out the show now for a year, we'd like you to come back. I don't know what the answer would have been. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have said yes, you know. And that might sound like a daft thing to say, or I'm just saying
you on there, don't you?
But,
well, and...
Yeah, and when I finished on it, I didn't feel that sad. I sort of felt relieved in a funny sort of way. I don't know if that makes sense, but it was kind of like a weight off the shoulders.
Like you didn't want to kind of like, I get what you mean.
But what you want is to have your cake and eat it. You want to have like money coming in regularly, but the freedom to do other things. And I don't know. I mean, I was lucky that I finished on Shameless, did a play immediately, did a Holby City not long after that. And so I was back in the swing of doing things. It wasn't like, I've always been aware of those horror stories where you hear from actors who have been doing something for a while and it kind of kills them. Yeah, it can sort of kill the career for a long chunk of time. Well, that hasn't really happened to me. I went from doing these quirky parts pre-Shameless to being the Shameless to going back to doing these sort of like quirky parts and other stuff. Yeah. And also having the attitude of it's all good work. So as I say, I'm very happy to be going off to be doing pantomime for 2 months or 8 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever it is.
It's nice to keep
good, you know.
Doing different things, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, you change, you meet different people. I mean, these days, you finish a pantomime job and everybody's having a good cry and we'll never see each other again. Then you're all talking on Facebook half an hour later, sharing a for tea. So the world's different now.
Well, that's one of the joys of social media, being able to keep in touch, that kind of contact.
Yeah, and I'm still in touch with a chunk of people from Shameless, you know, and you know,
I would like to get more Shameless people on. Actually, I know obviously Tina Malone's coming on. This Jodie Latham, I would like to speak to. I was going to throw some some cast names out to you actually, just to see if you have any memories of them. Actually, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I know that it was going off what you were saying. Because after the first 3 series, there was a big cast reshuffle. Because I know Maxine Peake left.
Yeah.
What's his name? Kelly, the one who played Kevin.
Yeah.
He played Kelly's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who I'm on about. And James McAvoy and Anne-Marie Duff, they all kind of left at the end of series 3. But thankfully, we had the Maguires that came through then. So just obviously, David Frelfis, we have to start with him. David Frelfis, sorry. I can't read my own writing. Frank Gallagher, do you have any memories or is there any thoughts that you'd like to say?
Well, the first time I went to the read-through for the episode, I was really nervous because I was in a room with some very, very good actors, you know what I mean? Some people who you go, wow. And him being one of them, I'd seen him do stuff, you know, like with the Royal National Theatre. And you think, he's a really good actor. Now, on an ego thing, what was good was that I was able to sort of fit in with them all and was made to feel welcome and I didn't feel out of place. So I was sort of, they were dragging me along with them, you know. Yeah. But they were all, well, I think if you work with good people, like in any job, you learn off them. So I learned a lot. And it was a pleasure doing the scenes with such good actors because there's an energy to it and there's a certain sort of something where if you work with people who aren't really that good, it's murder, you know. So
I imagine it would put you off as well, yeah.
Yeah, David Threlfall, he directed some of the episodes that I'm in, and he couldn't have been nicer, more encouraging. He'd give you direction and advice as a fellow actor, but he didn't make you feel like he was sort of talking. It was like advice, you know, let's do it like this. What do you think? You were encouraged, and you were encouraged to be part of the show. So I remember him being really nice. Maxine Peake, dead nice, Dean Lex. I mean, they were all. I would love to say to you, there was one of them I couldn't stand, but it wasn't like that.
No, I wasn't going to ask that. I don't do tacky questions like that.
No, but that's, I think sometimes, you know, there wasn't a lot of time for people to be arsey either, particularly. I mean, we could all have a good laugh, and we did. But once again, we all got on with the work as well. So it was a mixture of like working hard and getting on with it and having a laugh and there being, I think, a really good bond. I mean, it became apparent that we were in something special, to use a corny expression. I now realise looking back just how special it was, you know.
It's always when you look back though, isn't it? Years later and you think, oh, that's yeah.
And we did this Shameless Zoom meeting, cast reunion thing. And I've got to tell you, it was all a bit, not emotional, but it did me a slight lump in the throat. I thought that was a very good time with some very nice people as well as very talented people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, James McAvoy, you know, not long after doing Shameless, he was suddenly a Hollywood star.
He did,
Duff, you know, Maxine Peake still does fantastic stuff. And you go,
yeah. I mean, I remember her I think it might have been around the time she left Shameless, but she played Myra Hindley, didn't she? ITV. And that was really good. And she was brilliant.
Oh, super strong actress, really, you know.
Well, I've got some names. Kieran Griffiths. Now, he always used to, he used to make me laugh.
Yeah.
Kieran Griffiths. Did you have much to do with him?
Yeah, all dead nice. I mean, literally like nice, funny, good company.
Yeah. Which
is half the battle. If you've got good company, then, as I say, it makes working a lot easier, you know.
Of course. Well, I have asked him a couple of times if he wants to come on. I haven't had it because interviews aren't for everybody. Some of the actors are they? So you just have to respect that. But obviously, Kieran Griffiths would be one I'd love to get on. Gerard Kearns, I wanted to get him. Played Ian Gallagher. I'd really like to get him on. Is he on Facebook?
I really don't know. I mean, I thought his performance was absolutely brilliant because. Well, I think sometimes if you work with a really good actor, you don't see the actor; it's just there, you know, in the take. And he was brilliant. And once again, such a lovely bloke. I mean, such a nice fella. And I thought his performance was great because he was like the sensitive one in the family. And I
just thought yes, and the gay one of the family.
Yeah, and he had all those kind of shades to his character that he just nailed. And it was real, you know, that's the thing. It was, you 100%, you go, yeah, I get you totally with your character. That's totally formed, brilliant, you know.
And then, of course, because I tell you what, of all the Maguires, the most scariest one for me, the one I'd least like to mess with would definitely be Tina Malone's Mimi Maguire.
Well, Tina, I remember talking to Tina a while ago, and we worked out we'd known each other for 30 years.
Oh, wow, so you've known each other before Shameless then, yeah?
Yeah, I said, I wouldn't have got that for murder, you know, 30 years of knowing you and all this sort of stuff. But I've known Tina for a long time, and I've always liked Tina. She's always been as nice as pie and good and encouraging to me. Because when I first met Tina, I mean, I just left college and, you know, was very green about the whole acting thing. But yeah, and I'm still in touch with Tina. And Tina, she's a force of nature. There's only one scene, you know, but she's, and I like her a lot, you know. To work with, she was great because once again, she was right there with the character. It was consistent, you know, and you sort of go, yeah. She was frightening during those takes when she used to kick off. It was real, yeah, you know.
It was a bit like your character in a way, because when you were the first 3 series, the kind of like Stan and the police officer were a little bit like the Maguires. They kind of seemed cartoon characters, but obviously in series 4, the Maguires came forward, and I felt your character came forward, and we started to think that's when you became more human to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, also, you know, somebody like Tina. Tina's done an awful lot of good work. You know, people go, "Oh, Shameless," because they remember this vivid character she created, but Tina's done an awful lot of very good stuff over the years, and she's a really good actress, Tina. And you know, so when she was there doing the Mimi Maguire thing, and Maguires were there, you go, yeah, that's good stuff. You know, people remember it. Strong characters, I say, strong actors doing strong characters.
Definitely. And then, of course, there was Sean Gilder, who played Paddy Maguire.
Yeah.
He was scary. Well, I don't know. He could be scary, but he was also very comical. It was a bit like Mimi. They could be comical, but they could also be serious and scary.
Well, another very, very top of the range fine actor and a top bloke.
Yeah.
Top man. And, you know, somebody I really liked. I mean, I wish I was in touch with him, but I'm not. But I don't know what he's up to or where he is, or I'm sure he's up to something. But yeah, a good sort and somebody I liked spending time with. And once again, a very powerful actor who created this really big, vivid, larger than life, yet believable.
It was very believable, role. Yeah. Like Stan.
Well, I would say it's very hard.
Like I said, when he started softening, he got with Yvonne and stuff like that. That's when he seemed, his characters was more humanised. And there was a very funny scene where you were in the shop. I think it was the beginning of series 5, and you were asking for advice off Yvonne, and she was trying to get rid of you out the shop because you were holding the line up. You were asking for advice about the girlfriend. I never saw you two getting together, and then it worked out really well. I thought.
Well, it was like a love story in reverse. You know, there's usually the courtship, and then there's the sex, and it would stand they're basically the sex, then the courtship. You know?
I mean, do you know, I only picked up on it because I completely forgot, and I would have put that clip in because, you know, when you were doing your Elvis in the pub, and they were all shouting, "Stan, get your knob out." That was because you'd been in it. Stan had been in a porn film or something, hadn't he?
Yeah, I did a scene. I did a couple of scenes which I used to call, "Oh God, my mother's got to watch this" scenes.
Yeah.
So one of them, Stan, while dressed as Elvis, Las Vegas Elvis with the wig, gets a blowjob, basically. And I met the actress who was going to give me the pretend blowjob about 15 minutes before we did it, or half an hour before we did it. And she was very friendly, and we sort of went, well, we're doing it. Like, and
how did you feel when you did that? I mean, were you nervous or?
Well, I can tell you right now, I didn't get a hard on at all.
That's nerves, yes, definitely nerves.
No kind of, I didn't find it in any way kind of, you know, wow, you know. But anyway, I met that actress, and she was dead nice, and we did the scene, and it was all cool, you know. I was a small crew filming it, and then during the break of that year's filming, we had a couple of months off in between series. I did an episode of the Basil Brush Show down in...
Yes, I've got that written down here, yes.
Down in Maidstone. Yeah. And I'm in the canteen, not wearing my glasses, so I couldn't really see anybody. And I heard this voice go, "Corrie," and it was her who said, "Do you remember me?" So she was doing Basil Brush as well, only in a different context, you know, different sort of... But yeah, and so I did that. I mean, there's a few things where you go, "God, my mother's going to have to watch this," but you do them because you think, well, it's not me doing it, it's Stan doing it. And the thing is, when it comes to things like people giving you compliments, I always find it slightly embarrassing. But one thing that was said to me once by somebody was they believed my character. And I thought, well, they believed the character. And they could imagine what I was doing when I wasn't on screen and all that kind of thing. I remember thinking, well, I must have done a good job. It's just that I find it hard to watch because I see all the flaws and, stuff.
No, I think you should watch back now with fondness and with pride. I know what you mean.
I'm working on it. I'll try my best. I've done 2 of them so far, so maybe I'll start working my way through.
Well, I've got to be honest. I mean, it's not the same thing, but it's like when someone says, do you ever watch your interviews back? I said, well, no, I don't normally. I said, sometimes when I'm trying to dig out clips, I'll just forward to listen to what they're saying. And then as soon as I hear myself speak, I'm so shut up again. I really get on my own nerves, so I don't. And it's like what you said, I start hearing my own voice and it makes me cringe. And I'm like, oh.
Well, we were given copies of every single DVD of Shameless that we were in. So I've got all the episodes.
You're going to have to watch them all day.
I know.
You have to watch them one day. You should have watched them during lockdown.
I didn't want to add to the misery, you know what I mean? So, no.
Oh, no. Well, I can't believe that we've actually been on air for nearly an hour already. So, not that it's a
and Facebook hasn't crashed for the excitement of it all.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's time flies when you're having fun. Honestly, these interviews, whenever I have anybody on, they go on about this long, and it feels like about 10, like we've been talking 10, 15 minutes. Yeah. So I just wonder, obviously, Aladdin, where can people see you in Aladdin?
At the Forum Theatre in Billingham, which is in Stockton-on-Tees, up towards Middlesbrough Way. And we're there from right the way through December till January the 4th.
Yeah.
So it's all there on the website. I'm on the poster with one of those villains beings like that, And
oh yes, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that'll be a good job, and you can come, people in the area can come and see that. It's a lovely theatre. It's a fantastic theatre, and it's a bit of adventure. I'm going to be up there for a while and meeting people and doing things, and then I'll come home and God knows what I'll be doing after that. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
So you haven't got any plans for the new year? Obviously, you take these things as they come, do you? So
well, I've got plans for a chunk of work and then just to see. I don't know. I mean, it's been such a strange time anyway with the lockdown. But with me, I mean, a couple of years ago, there was a period where I didn't work for a couple of months, couldn't even get an audition. I thought, God, this is grim. And then 3 jobs came in at once. And that's sort of how it goes sometimes.
Like a bloody bus. They all come along at once.
They all come along at once. And there might be a little lottery win in there somewhere, in which case all my worries are over,
So if you do win the lottery, would you give up acting, or do you think you'd still want to continue?
I'd probably be in a film I'd written myself with lots of attractive women and champagne. That's cars, mate. I don't know. I still have the itch, maybe to do a little bit of acting.
Yeah.
But as and when it's suited, in between all the other stuff, I think.
Well, you've got lots to look forward to at the moment anyway with Aladdin and stuff. That's going to keep you very, very busy for the next...
Very busy, yeah. Yeah, it's going to keep me out of mischief for nearly 2 months, so I can't complain about that.
And I bet you by the end of it, you'll have had more jobs.
Yes, and lost weight. So it's win-win, isn't it? Slimmer and hopefully with a prospect of more work. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, of course. Oh, well, Warren, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I hope you've enjoyed it and had fun.
I have.
Chatting all about Shameless and stuff. I mean, in the future, I'm doing a Brookside cast reunion in a couple of weeks. Tina Malone will be on there. I would like to do, perhaps if I can, organise in the new year, perhaps a Shameless cast reunion, if I can get everybody on. I mean, would you be interested in that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think you'll find there'll be a few other people, if you get in touch with them who'd be up for doing it as well. Because, as I say, there's a lot of happy memories, there really is, of doing that show.
Oh, that's good then. Well, I'll definitely do it. How long ago was the last cast reunion? Because I don't want to...
Summertime. It's a good few months ago now.
Oh, right. So if I was to plan it in the new year then obviously...
Maybe, yeah.
Good. Well, I've got one person on. Warren's our first person. He's definitely coming on the Shameless cast reunion next year. It, yeah. You're the first one.
And this is going to be on YouTube as well. So I'll give it a plug. This interview is going to be on YouTube as well, isn't it? Is that right?
Oh, yes, this interview will be on YouTube. I always put them on my YouTube channel.
Well, I'll give it a plug then. I shall give it a plug for you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Yes, and I'll send you what I'll do is after I finish here, I put it on YouTube in about an hour or so. So I'll send you the link as well.
Happy days.
And happy days. Well, it's been lovely to speak to you, Warren. And obviously, I've still got another 4 series of Shameless to get through yet. So I'm going to enjoy carrying on with those. And I will start organising soon this cast reunion then. And then we'll see you again soon.
Do it. Don't delay.
Yeah, no, I will do it. I'll definitely do it. I'll plan it for 2022. That's going to be my next one.
Okay. Nice one.
Well, it's been lovely speaking to you again, and have a lovely evening. And I'll send the link for you in a bit. And thank you to everybody who's watched.
Great,
well, you have a lovely evening, and I'll send it you shortly.
Right, well then, happy days.
Happy days, and thank you again, Warren Donnelly, and we will speak soon. Right, I should say good night to you then, and good night to everybody, and thank you for watching. Okay, thanks, Warren. See you soon.
Okay, no worries.
Take care. Bye-bye.